Please go back to the bathroom, shave it
I'm
off.
not shaving it off. It's my hunting look.
Tons of guys around here hunt for their livelihood.
You're not from here, Joe.
Can I borrow your rifle?
You need ammo?
Nah, I bought some. Sorry.
If you just wait till next week, I can go.
Thanks again.
I'm the mustache man. I'll catch it, I'll kill it any way I can.
The whole point of this was I could take care of my family. My wife didn't even want me to come out here today. I'm just saying, it seems like the whole world's falling apart. Come on, Joe. These things happen. You're doing what's right. And you did the right thing, Joe.
You have to tell me what happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, today we are so happy and gracious to have with us a fantastic actor in a great movie, The Integrity of Joseph Chambers, and its star, Clayne Crawford. Clayne, what's up, man? How you doing?
Brother, how are you?
You know what? It's a beautiful day out here. I can't complain too much despite this impending storm weather.
What part of the world are you in if you've got an impending...
I just moved to Columbus, Ohio, so...
I'm in Birmingham, and big storm rolling through.
It's going to miss us just barely, but it's there.
That's right.
I want to start by asking you about working with Robert Machoian. We had a pleasure of meeting Robert in person for his one of his features that he did before this, and he's a lovely dude. We interviewed him for a different feature. Can you describe working with him and what his process is like and what that means for you as an actor?
I've known Robert since 2008, 2009, and we had been trying to get something going for quite a while and was never able to kind of make it happen. And then in 2019, we made The Killing of Two Lovers. And it was just such a wonderful collaboration. Robert he's so technical. If you've met Robert, you know how much he loves the technical aspect of filmmaking. And I'm more on the fairy tale side of it, which is like just make believe and so forth. And Robert allows me to bring in my actor friends. So I hire the actors, and I bring in people that from the last two films, the people that I have a relationship with previously, just because I understand their work ethic. I know how they kind of operate. And Robert allows us to figure out the blocking. He gives us a lot of freedom with the dialogue and with the scene because he wants it to be honest. So for me, I've lived my career the last 20 years. I've always kind of had someone telling me how to play the character. And I kind of just took that as that's how filmmaking, that was part of the collaboration. And it is nice sometimes to have someone kind of nudge you in a specific direction. But with Robert, he just really, you saw The Killing of Two Lovers. This guy just made beautiful frames, because the guy's a photography professor at BYU. So he makes these beautiful frames and then just let the actors live within that frame. And he allowed us to create the blocking and it's been a wonderful collaboration, man. And that's why I was excited to kind of jump into a second one. And even though it was right in the middle of COVID, I was just so tired of day drinking and watching Netflix that I was like, let's go make a movie for crying out loud,
Day drinking, I can't relate, but the Netflix all day, I definitely can.
The COVID was rad in that respect. And I don't know if there was Netflix all day. I was pretty much on a tractor or a dirt bike, but regardless, I was like, let's go be creative,
Sometimes you need that outlet, honestly. It's one of those things. I'm glad you mentioned The Killing of Two Lovers because that movie is absolutely beautiful. You're great in it, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
But it's a very different role from your role here. Right here, it's very isolated. But the thing I wanted to talk about with this film is the mirror it puts up to masculinity. Because this whole thing is set off by a main character's machismo overtaking him and a need to facilitate that provider role. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think I'm from a small town in Alabama. So I was taught by my grandfathers and uncles and dad a very specific way to be a man. And that was, fixing things and providing and being tough and keeping your emotions at bay and so forth. And then I moved to Los Angeles at 18, and I realized what defines a man is much different out there than it was in Clay, Alabama. And I thought for Joe, what a great opportunity to take this character, a guy that grew up in a city, an urban environment, small city, and has moved him to a rural environment, where what defines a man, or that definition, is quite different. And he realized that having a BMW and a successful business and on his iPhone all day, like he was a man, he was providing, and then he moves to this small town and he realizes he doesn't know how to do a lot of the things that these men know how to do. And I think that started to kind of affect his ego. And I think we all kind of want to belong within our tribe, I think, and he was faced with this difficult situation where he didn't have the skill set to do certain things, but he saw himself as a intelligent, able-bodied guy. And he even says, if a 13-year-old kid could sit in a deer stand and shoot a deer, I can sit I got this, and unfortunately, he doesn't have the skill set to navigate this situation. And I think that it was important to me because weapons in this country, for the most part, when we see the violence that they can create and the horror that comes from them, it's from bad guys doing bad things, right? Whether it's in film or cinema or even the news. And I thought it was important to show that these weapons can create that same amount of violence and horror, even when there's good intentions, even honorable, trying to protect your family or provide for your family.
I like that breakdown there, because that was the first thing I noticed. I was like, this character is awesome. He wants to do something admirable, but the way he's going about it doesn't seem like it should have been, the best way. He should have just listened to his wife, which is always a smart idea.
Listen to the lady. Listen to the lady. But yeah, he goes, hey, I want to do this, but unfortunately, like you said, he just didn't have the toolbox. Right. He showed up, and he wasn't prepared. And you see that in his actions, and it may even be a little over the top, but I just wanted people to realize, like that deer stand scene, my dad can't watch that scene sitting down. It just literally makes him sick, because this is a guy who taught me, at age 12, this is how you this is how, just hammering it into me. How do you operate a weapon and have respect for it? And Joseph he's ignorant, isn't he?
He doesn't understand those things. And I can relate to that, being that I grew up, in a Latin household. There's very much a machismo mindset of this is how you are a man. And again, being from Los Angeles, I've seen that other side as well. So,
Right.
at the same time I was learning to, change a lug nut, I was also, figuring out how to be a different kind of man. I had the advantage of doing it early. Joseph, he didn't have that advantage. And that's an interesting dichotomy there that you were able to play off beautifully. And I love that.
Oh, that's very kind of you. And poor Joseph, he gets it from the reverse, right?
Yeah.
He has to go back and he's like, I don't know how to be a knuckle dragger. Like, what? I gotta, these things are loud and I gotta drive this truck. I mean, that was important, like that this guy just doesn't, he's like driving a school bus. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
He's up here when he should be down here.
That's
And
right.
it's really interesting to see that. I wanted to ask you the two questions I ask all my guests, and they're the most personal questions that we ask. They're also a lot of fun. So you've had a really long and really, really interesting career in TV and in movies. Rarely do people people able to pull off both with such longevity, but you have been. Who are some people in this business that you look to as inspirations, or people that have helped you get to where you are?
Mm. There's two questions in there. Who did I take inspiration from? Gary Oldman, like that dude. Watching him play Dracula and then watching him play Drexel in True Romance, I'm like, or Basquiat as an art dealer, this dude blew me away. Jeffrey Wright, forgive me. Jeffrey Rush is also amazing, but Jeffrey Wright, it just made me think of Basquiat, like watching that dude. Philip Seymour Hoffman, like those were my inspirations, I just wanted to play characters very much. And then, I'll tell you a quick story. There's an actor named John Ryan, and your audience can look him up. He was in Nixon. He was in Five Easy Pieces, both Jack Nicholson films.
Great films.
Okay, so he's the caregiver, right? In all white and the turtleneck. So that's John Ryan. And I had just watched Five Easy Pieces. I'm 18 years old. I'm living in Los Angeles. I know nothing from nothing. And I would go to this restaurant on Beverly called Jan's. And Jan's had biscuits and gravy, and it was the only place in Los Angeles that made biscuits, and especially like sausage gravy. So I would go there, and it made me kind of feel like I was at home. And John Ryan sitting in a booth, and I'm by myself. And he's by himself, and I'm like, oh my God, I just saw that actor, and he's a much older man, and I finally get the courage, and I go up and I just say, hey, my name's Clayne Crawford, and I'm an aspiring actor, and you're amazing, and it's just so neat. And he's like, sit down, and I was like, okay. So I sit down in the booth with him, and he's like, you want to be an actor? And I'm like, yeah, heck yeah, I want to be. This is going to be awesome. He's like, where's your car? I was like, I parked right there. And he goes, all right, we're going to pay these tabs. You follow me. So I'm in my car, and I follow this guy up the street about 2 blocks, and he's got this little house. This guy takes me into his home. This is 1996. He takes me into his home, and immediately goes to a closet, and he takes boxes out of this closet, and he's got books and films, right? VHS. And this is 1997, because it was when the monsoon came through LA, and it just rained 5 months straight. This guy gives me Monty Clift's autobiography, Ia Kazan, Marlon Brando, Sean Penn. He just starts dropping these incredible books in my lap, okay? Then this guy had, because he's part of the Academy, he had every film since 1934 that had been nominated for Oscars, okay? So all the way to The Hotel up until Shawshank, right? So this guy is dumping, and he's like, you're going to go read this, and then you're going to watch this, and then you're going to read this, and then you're going to watch this. And I'm a guy who grew up in Clay, Alabama, where when I moved to LA, Young Guns and Predator was like my favorite movies, right? You know what I mean? Like, I watched McConaughey in A Time to Kill, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be an actor. So this guy gives me all of this knowledge, and literally I consumed it through that monsoon that year. And it was film school for me. It educated me. And then this guy, he was a special man. He taught me all of this knowledge, and then he passed away about 2 years later.
I love that story. And I got to tell you, that's the Quentin Tarantino thing. He said, I didn't go to film school. I went to films. And that's exactly it. That's exactly what happened to you.
100%.
I love that. Now, we only have a couple minutes left, so I'm just going to hit you quick with the last question. You can give me the quickest answer. 2 movies you can watch the rest of your life, and no other movies. What 2 and why?
True Romance, because it's the greatest performances that I've ever seen in a film, whether it's Gandolfini and Patricia Arquette, Dennis Hopper and Christopher Walken, Gary Oldman playing Drexel. And then my next would have to be, I guess it'd be between Goodfellas and Shawshank. I don't know. I would flip a quarter. I'd be happy either way it landed.
That's 3 good 90s movies right there. All good. Guys, today we've had the pleasure of speaking with Clayne Crawford. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with before I disconnect from you here today?
Oh, yo, just thank you for supporting, man. That's it.
Of course, guys, and make sure that you're checking out the new film, The Integrity of Joseph Chambers, of course, directed by Robert Machoian. It should be out near you I have June 9th here as a release date.
February 17th.
February 17th and limited, is that right?
That's right. And then VOD
tomorrow
as well.
That's it's out on VOD tomorrow as well. So, guys, it's worth the $12.99 or whatever iTunes is going to charge you to check it out. It's a very stirring piece, and I think you'll all enjoy it. Clayne Crawford, you're the man. Appreciate you. We'll see you on whatever you're doing next. I look forward to it.
Yo, bro, thank you so much. Speak soon.
Have a great